Good evening and welcome to the October 16th regular city council meeting. We've got a few items on this first meeting of which we'll also have public comment and some other things, some public recognition, and then we will gavel out and go into a study session. So clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Hartke,
Present.
Vice Mayor Orlando,
Present.
Councilmember Encinas,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Poston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, City Clerk. Our invocation tonight will be brought forth by Reverend Tara Smith from Crossroads Nazarene Church and our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Odie Harris. Reverend.
It's my honor to invite you to bow your heads in prayer with me this evening. Oh, gracious God, there is much that we do not know, but we do know that you are good. And because of this, we can trust you. God, all things are in your hands, including city council meetings. We pray, Father, that you would be present in all of the business conducted this evening, in all of the words spoken. God, that you would send the blessing of your peace and wisdom upon Mayor Hartke, upon the council members, upon all those who speak in the agenda items present this evening. God, we know that you are deeply and personally invested in all things, and we trust that all things are in your hands. We pray this and all the prayers of our hearts in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Smith. Thank you, Councilmember Harris. We've got a number of scheduled public appearances, and I'd like to invite Councilmember Stewart to join me up front. All right, first on our list, we have a number of service recognitions. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. We do have 3 employee service recognitions this evening. For the first presentation, I would like to call forth John Sefton, our Community Services Director.
Get to go first. Excellent. Good evening, Mayor and Council, Mr. City Manager. It's an honor to bring forward Raquel Espinosa. Raquel's love for libraries began as a little girl. She spent countless hours at the Hamilton Public Library across the street from her home. She started her career as a teen volunteer and became a page at Hamilton just when she was old enough. That's how she got a decade in already. Raquel is a gift to Chandler and the Chandler Public Library system. She is the Pied Piper of downtown youth services. All the children love her, and she uses her bilingual skills to engage with families throughout the community, her programs, and especially the toddler time, and she has a true rock star-like following. While she jumped ship for a couple of years to go over to help the fire department, she came back in 2022 to continue her library legacy. She's played an integral part in the downtown youth and tween programming, promoting literacy and the love of libraries. Her dedication and warmth shine through to everyone she encounters. We're so fortunate to have you, Raquel, and thank you for your decade of service.
Please wait one moment. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, for our second service recognition, I'd like to call forth Sandeep Dalokia, our Chief Information Officer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members, City Manager.
For our recognition in IT, I'd like to invite Earl Holland to come on up. We're going to be recognizing his 10-year service anniversary tonight. Earl joined the city in 2013 with his focus being primarily on the electronic document management system. This means that his fingerprints, virtual fingerprints that is, can be felt by just about every single department in the city. Earl was instrumental in implementing and supporting the enterprise document management system. He built and manages several interfaces between that system and other systems, such as those for courts, PD, the city's tax system, and fire. Earl is married and has 5 kids, 4 grandkids, and 1 crazy dog. In addition to being an active member of his church, Earl is very much into woodworking and has made several significant furniture projects. Congratulations, Earl, on your 10-year anniversary, and here's to about another 30 more years.
Cindy, he promised 10.
10 more.
Mayor and Council, for our third and final service recognition tonight, I'd like to ask Micah Miranda, our Acting Development Services Director, to come forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. 10 years is quite an accomplishment, but I would like to invite Bob Graffius to be recognized for 20 years of service to the city of Chandler. Bob. Bob came to the city of Chandler in 2003 as a building code specialist within the building safety division. He was promoted to senior building inspector in 2018 and subsequently building inspections manager in 2019. Over the years, he has maintained his valuable skills as an inspector and developed into an effective manager. Bob endeavors to make the city a better place for people to live, work, and study. His hard work and dedication make him a significant asset to our organization. We are delighted to express our appreciation and congratulations on the remarkable occasion of your 20 years of service, Bob. Throughout your tenure with the city of Chandler, you have consistently demonstrated exceptional diligence and professionalism. Thank you for all your hard work and commitment to the city of Chandler.
Micah, he says he's never leaving.
He said you are.
Mayor, that concludes our service recognitions tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom, welcome. Our next is a proclamation with Arizona Cities and Town Week. Tom Belshi, the Arizona League of Cities and Towns Director, is joining us, and we have a proclamation. Whereas the residents of Chandler rely on the city of Chandler to provide a high quality of life in the community, and whereas cities and towns in Arizona work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to deliver vital services such as fire, police, and emergency medical response to ensure safe communities, and whereas cities and towns in Arizona provide essential infrastructure and services for businesses and residents, such as utilities, transportation, sanitation, and recycling services. And whereas cities and towns in Arizona provide facilities and programs that enhance the lives of residents, such as libraries, museums, performing arts and galleries, parks, recreation centers, and related programs. And whereas it is important for the city of Chandler to continue to provide the excellent delivery of services and programs that our residents rely on in our community. And whereas it is one of the responsibilities of Chandler officials to ensure open and accessible government through frequent communication with residents using various avenues and means. Now therefore I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, Arizona, do hereby join with the League of Arizona Cities and Towns and fellow municipalities across the state of Arizona in proclaiming October 15th through 21st, 2023 as Arizona's Cities and Towns Week. Tom, would you like to say anything?
I just want to thank the mayor for his service on our board, and this is a tradition that I look forward to every year, coming and accepting this proclamation. I represent 91 cities and towns, and the city of Chandler is one that we look to be an example of how things should be done, and we appreciate that so much, and it makes it easy for us to represent you. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Do you make it down to Mayor Nichols and Yuma when they make this proclamation?
If time permits.
Let's have a photo. Our next proclamation is cybersecurity awareness. So if Sandeep Dolakia and our information technology security team will join us. And council member, would you like to read this one? This one's got more words to it.
And it's cybersecurity, so there's big words on this, but I'll give it a try. So the city of Chandler recognizes that cybersecurity plays a vital role in identifying and protecting citizens from and responding to threats that may have a significant impact to our individual and collective safety and privacy. And whereas critical infrastructure is increasingly reliant on the support of information systems and technology, and whereas monitoring your accounts, being conscientious of what you share online, keeping software up to date, creating unique passwords, and changing them regularly. That's something I think we all are lax in. Installing antivirus programs and firewalls, and using mobile devices and other internet connect devices safely are ways people and organizations can protect themselves from phishing, viruses, ransomware, and other type of malware, financial loss, and loss of sensitive data. And the city of Chandler is dedicated to providing every individual and public and private organization in the city the resources necessary to ensure the understanding, implementation, and success of Cybersecurity Awareness Month to help its citizens stay safe online and connect with confidence. All citizens are encouraged to visit stopthinkconnect.org to learn about cybersecurity, to put that knowledge into practice in their homes, schools, workplaces, and businesses. And whereas maintaining the security of cyberspace is a shared responsibility in which each of us has a critical role to play, and awareness of essential cyber hygiene will improve the security of the city of Chandler's information, infrastructure, and economy. And on behalf of Mayor Hartke, the city of Chandler, Arizona, we hereby do proclaim the month of October 23rd as Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
You want to say a few words?
Thank you very much. I want to first thank our mayor, our council, our city management, and all of the department directors, as well as all of the city employees for your diligence. Over the past 1 year, we have really matured our city's security platform. Just like the proclamation reads, security is not something that is just the technology departments or just the security team's responsibility. That's a shared responsibility that's for all of the employees, but also all of the citizens as well. As the proclamation also reads, please do visit the website. It does give a lot of good information regarding security tips and tricks to keep yourself safe. It really does impact everybody from home life to work life to businesses, small, medium, and large. So once again, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council, and thank you, City Manager.
Let's take a photo. Next, we've got a few recognitions. First, this is a fun one. our National Video Awards. So Matt Burdick and the, do I pause? And the Kappa Video Team.
Absolutely. Great. For our audience, these are some of the folks that are behind the scenes bringing the broadcast to you normally. So Stacy's in the back right now running it solo. Edmundo Mendez also is another member of our team. So Edmundo, sorry you couldn't be here tonight, but want to recognize our video team. They've recently won 8 different awards in 2 different national competitions. So first off, the Telly Awards has more than 13,000 entries from 50 countries. Winners include prominent brands that many of you have probably heard of: Netflix and Paramount and National Geographic. Chandler this year won 4 awards in that competition. I'll elaborate on them in just a second. And then another competition with some of our fellow local governments around the country had more than 950 entries from different broadcast, cable, multimedia, and electronic programming produced by different local governments. We won 4 awards in that one as well. So, if you attended or watched the State of the City Mayor from this past year, Ostrich World won a Silver Telly as well as an Award of Excellence in the visual effects category, tying with Ed Sheeran's music Two Step. In another video featured during this year's State of the City, Ag to Tech Town in the historic category won a Bronze Telly and an Award of Honor, looking back at Chandler through the decades. Some of the other recipients in that same category: Washington Post Live and the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. In the motivational category, the Chandler Changemakers, a video that was produced in last year's State of the City, showcased people making a difference in Chandler. We won a Silver Telly in that one. WebMD, United Healthcare were a couple of other winners in that particular category. And then I know this video was really important to our CFO, Don Lang. We won a Silver Telly in the Government Relations and an Award of Distinction in the Election Coverage category for our explanation of the Prop 470 Home Rule, which was overwhelmingly approved by voters a couple years ago. And then for our police recruitment, we partnered with our police department, put together a really innovative video to highlight our police department and the opportunity for careers with our police department. That won an Award of Excellence. So Stacy, if you're still tuning in, you need to hustle on back out here so we can get a photo. So congratulations to our video team.
Hey, Matt, can you please check, see if any of these garnered any council IMBD recognitions for their great acting abilities?
We can certainly do that. Oh, geez.
Come on, man.
I'll get over here. Get in the middle. Get in the middle.
Congratulations, Kappa. I can't wait to start working on this year's State of the City. This team has got some great ideas. All right, next, recognition for Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Christy Smith and the accounting team in Management Services can come on forward.
Okay, let's see your moves, guys.
Hey, we need y'all to do the same thing they just did.
All right.
There you go.
Chandler, thank you, Mayor and Council. Chandler has an amazing accounting team who take pride in accurate reporting. Tonight we have Christy Smith, our Assistant Director of Financial Services,
Robert Steele, our accounting manager, and Shalonda Haynes, our accounting technician, here to represent the entire team. This is for the award for the preparation of the fiscal year 2021-22 annual comprehensive financial report. I'm happy to report the City of Chandler's received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for our annual comprehensive financial report. I'll just call it an ACFR, for the 41st consecutive year after completing the annual audit. Established in 1946, this certificate program recognizes state and local governments whose annual financial reports conform to high standards established by the Government Accounting Standards Board and the Government Finance Officers Association. The ACFR has become the nationwide standard for local government financial reporting. This report requires about 4 months of intense work as the city completes the annual audit and prepares the report. This annual report ensures full disclosure of the city's finances in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. That's right. And it's used by all 3 of our credit rating agencies, Moody's, Fitch, and S&P, to help in their assessment of the city's credit worthiness. Our thanks and appreciation to them, the entire accounting division, and our team members throughout departments. It takes everyone for this effort, for their hard work and dedication. Team Chandler rocks.
Thank you.
Mayor, I think our Kappa team's catching up with them, huh?
Yeah. Councilmember Harris, I think we've been getting these awards longer than you've been alive almost. Yeah. Definitely longer than another council member has been alive. All right. Our last recognition is the Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award. So if Christina Pryor and our purchasing team in management services can come forward.
Tonight, I have the honor of recognizing the city's purchasing team for receiving the Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award for 2023 from the National Procurement Institute. Here to receive this award is Christina Pryor, our awesome procurement manager, and four. We have 4, right? 4 of her team members, Rosenda Contreras and Sherry Revis, our procurement senior specialist, and Christian Johnson and Raquel McMahon, our procurement officers. So the other team members who contributed to the award application could not be here tonight, although they were a very big part of this effort as well. This distinguished award recognizes organizational excellence by measuring an agency's commitment to continuous improvement in areas such as innovation, professionalism, e-procurement, productivity, and leadership. The city's received this award for 19 consecutive years and is only one of 12 agencies in Arizona and one of only 67 cities in the US and Canada to receive the award. Chandler's purchasing division belongs to an elite group of purchasing organizations in government that operate with the highest standards of quality and efficiency, receiving the best value with our city tax dollars for our goods and services. My thanks and appreciation to our outstanding purchasing division team for their commitment and dedication to their profession, the city, and the community.
Proud.
We're booming it, baby. We're booming it. All right, way to go. Congratulations.
All right. That concludes our.
This is your telly. This is their telly.
All right, Council. We've had several items that have been called in for questions or presentations.
Mayor,
You gotta move that. You gotta-
Mayor, you want to vote on?
Oh, thank you so much. I'd already moved to the next thing. I got so excited. All right, thank you, Vice Mayor.
You're welcome. All right.
So council, we had 4 consent items, I believe, that are part of our regular city council meeting. Most of these have been ones that we've looked at in the past. What is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Vice Mayor?
yeah, I move to approve the consent agenda of October 16, 2023, regular items 1 through 4.
Councilmember Ellis, a second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor, a second by Councilmember Ellis. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, council, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, that concludes this particular meeting.
I got your back, Mayor.
There you go.
I got your
Put
back,
hand right
Mayor.
there.
Don't worry about it.
Welcome to our study session. It's good to have people watching you.
It's a good way, right there.
It's a very good way. I will always take it. All right, we've got a number of items on our study session that have been called in, starting off with item number 8 by Councilmember Stewart. You had a question for the city manager. I'm sorry, for the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. And Kelly, can you give me a little rundown on kind of what we can talk about as it relates to cell phone towers and what we can't, as it relates to state and federal statutes? As far as like, we can't talk about health and safety. I know some of our neighbors have brought that up to us before. So if you could delve into that a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
If I may, Mayor, Councilmember Stewart. Yes, as you know, when it comes to regulations, the city's zoning and right-of-way police powers, as it relates to small wireless facilities or cell towers, that's an area that's been heavily preempted by both the federal government and the state government. It's particularly related to RF radiation, the health and safety of those towers. And under state law, the only thing that the city can do as it relates to that specific power is certify that the provider complies with the federal RF radiation requirements when the provider co-locates small wireless facilities on that tower. So we have a very limited opportunity to provide any regulation, and it's merely oversight to ensure compliance on that. Again, it's an area we are not allowed to prohibit these type facilities. They will come in. We can do a little bit on location, require co-location to reduce the number. But when it comes to regulating that public health concern, that's federal government has that taken that over.
Thank you, Kelly.
Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah, so Kelly, just to be clear, this is only before us tonight because of the unusual locations being put in, correct?
If I may, Mayor and Vice Mayor, it is because of its location. We do have a conditional use permit. And we can look at those location areas, but honestly, we'd have to have very specific and detailed grounds to deny
Understand.
it.
Understand. Thank you. Like, because that did come up, why are we, this coming before our body? So, okay, thanks. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Thank you. City Attorney, I did not actually roll call us in. Is that necessary for us to do that?
Mayor, I marked who was here.
All right, very good. Yeah,
That was his turn to tell you that.
there you go. See, Matt, this is what happens when I try to work off that one sheet of paper. It doesn't get me on both, so. All right. Our next question, our request was made by Councilmember Stewart and Councilmember Ellis, asking for a brief presentation on item number 14, Councilmember Stewart, Harris, and Ellis, looking at items number 24 and 25. And Mike, you're going to give us a presentation.
On item number 14, yes, sir.
14, yeah.
Yes, sir. So through the
Thank
mayor,
you.
Councilmember Stewart, and council, my pleasure to stand here again. Seems like deja vu. We do this a little bit every year to go over vehicle purchases because it's such a large number. Today, we're going to talk about our fiscal year 23-24 vehicle purchases. As you may or may not know, we don't automatically replace vehicles based on mileage or years of service. We use a systematic 15-point replacement criteria. In addition, we do inspect the vehicles. We have a fleet advisory committee that reviews those vehicles as well within their own departments. And that allows us to narrow that replacement count down to what it is today. Again, it's based on age, mileage, and cost to maintain. We also manage a vehicle replacement fund to ensure funding for future replacements of the vehicles. This agenda item includes 69 public safety vehicles with an average age of 9 years and the mileage of over 88,000 miles. 24 service vehicles with an average age of 11 years and mileage of over 90,000 miles. In addition, 5 new vehicles approved through the budget process, 3 being police vehicles, 1 code enforcement vehicle, and 1 park maintenance vehicle. And this chart basically gives a illustration of how those 98 vehicles are broken down at each cost center.
Technical difficulties.
All right.
Matt.
Everybody up?
We're good.
We're good.
Presentation. Yeah. Hold on. There you go. Now you got it.
There we go again.
So this slide again, you want me to go back a slide at all or no? Good. Okay. This slide illustrates what the breakdown is of those vehicles amongst each cost center. As you can see, our police department, they're at 71% of the total 98 vehicles, and then a close second, public works utilities at 16% of the vehicles. Again, 5 new vehicles authorized through the decision packages during the budget process. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Start with Councilmember Stewart and then Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks for the presentation. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of a brief overview. Again, like as always, like when we're talking about millions of dollars, I'm always like curious of what they're going for. I do want to thank staff. I know we've got a new software that we put into place that is really identifying and dialing in what cars need to be replaced, and you've done a phenomenal job doing that almost manually over the past few years. And now hopefully you've got the tool that you need to really dial that up, so that we're replacing the cars that need to be. And I think the biggest takeaway for me and what I wanted the public to see is that the lion's share of this expense goes to our public safety vehicles, and those can get beat up sometimes. I know that they're driven all night long and all day long, and they're run during the 115-degree days, and so they get a lot of miles on them and a lot of wear and tear. But we want to make sure that they're outfitted with what they need and that they feel comfortable going, and that our code enforcement and other folks planning feels comfortable in the trucks that they have to work in all day long. It's their office. So I appreciate the presentation.
No, Councilmember Stewart, the day I did a ride along, we ended up, the police, not we, boxing in a woman, and then 2 of the 4 cars were rammed. So just in one event, suddenly it goes into this place. So yeah, good comments. Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Just following up with the car being rammed, I found out that the city has its own mechanics and even staff that really run a garage, literally pretty much to take care of all those things. Can you tell me a little bit? Because some of our residents here, they probably don't have an idea that we actually take care of our own fleet and making sure that to save the city money. We do a lot of things to help out so that we'll be able to be fiscally responsible concerning the tax dollars. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I sure can. Through the mayor, Councilmember Ellis, we have a staff of 12 in fleet, only 12. I say that because we have over about 830 vehicles to maintain, in addition to another 250 to 300 pieces of equipment. So we're a little upside down on our technician to equipment ratio. There's no plug there for the budget, but there's a bit of.
We're hearing you.
But again, we do have a full service shop where the only things we don't do is body work. We do sub that out, but I've got a very capable staff of 12 in that fleet department. They do a great job, and past experiences with them with doing the same exercise manually, they've always done a phenomenal job doing that. I can't take credit for that, but and we do have this new software that's going to give us the data and the tools that we need to not only identify vehicles to be replaced, but also take a look at our utilization and our labor that it takes to maintain a fleet. But like I said, we do have pretty much a full maintenance shop.
A big shout out to them. Thank you so much.
In addition to, we
Yes,
work
sir.
on everything. A lot of shops sub out equipment, motorcycles and trailers and things like that, but we take on all of that.
Thank you so much for letting us know. And the people of Chandler, I'm sure, are grateful that you guys are taking care of their dollars very responsibly. Appreciate it.
Additional comments or questions from council?
Yeah, Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah, and this is good stuff, and I understand police vehicles, but I know over the last few years, we started buying more electric vehicles and hybrids. I don't see, I think I saw one in here,
That's correct, sir.
and I understand, is there more coming, or I understand police vehicles, you can't be in a high-speed chase and then your battery runs dry. I get that. I mean, that'd be a little bit embarrassing.
That would be
But I
bad.
mean, for some of the other issues, like, we're driving around town, doing code inspection, stuff like that, why aren't we looking at migrating towards those type of vehicles?
Through the mayor, Councilman Orlando, we are, as those vehicles come available, we do look at those. Right now, we had, I think, 4 vehicles identified to replace with Chevrolet Bolts, but they're not available. And they won't be available until mid-year. So when the time comes, as we get closer to purchase, if those vehicles are available, we'll switch and buy those alternative fuel vehicles.
So let me understand what you said. If you needed the vehicle now, you would wait for the EV, you would just buy it now.
If the need was there, yes, sir.
So, okay, so if the inventory was there, you just buy the current gas inventory, you wouldn't wait another couple of months for the EV.
If it was a couple months, we could wait, but we're talking probably a mid-year or end of vehicle year being out of production. We don't even have pricing for it yet. I can't tell how much they're going to cost.
You don't have pricing for what? I'm sorry.
The Chevrolet Bolt, the alternative
Right.
fuel vehicles. We don't even have pricing for those.
So okay, so we could take this offline. I'm just curious, what is our plan? Maybe the bigger question is, what is our plan to migrate some of these vehicles off of gas into electric vehicle or hybrids?
As they become available, that's how we're migrating. Right now, we're able to get the Maverick hybrid, and we have a few of those already.
Right.
We do have obviously the Leaf and some Bolts from last year we purchased, and as those become more available through the dealers, we'll be able to make those changes and purchase. But right now, it's availability that's driving that.
Okay, thanks.
So more supply, and we've got a demand, and the supply is not available for when we need these vehicles.
Correct.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Any additional questions, comments? Councilmember Ellis.
So is it the plan then for us to convert everything into electric?
Unfortunately, that's not practical.
Can't do it.
Okay. Well, that's the reason why I asked that question, because I never thought that was ever the plan. But we do want to diversify the portfolio, but that shouldn't be our goal, actually, to convert everything into those type of vehicle, because we still are learning more and more about these things. I mean, we got a flood around here, and then they all popping up and
Through the mayor,
inflame.
Councilmember Ellis, it's as practical is how we're approaching it.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
Right. Thank you, sir. All right. Next up is 24 and 25 combined, and this was called in by Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Stewart, and Councilmember Ellis. And who is making our presentation? Would that be you, Dawn?
Yes,
Great.
thank you, Mayor. So item number 24 and 25 are 2 resolutions we're bringing forward to request permission to sell bonds. The first one is not to exceed 120 million in general obligation bonds. These are bonds that we're looking to sell to fund projects in our 10-year capital improvement program, one specifically either in process or budgeted in 23-24 in the areas of park and recreation, library, police, fire, stormwater, and public buildings. These are projects that were discussed with the Citizen Advisory Panel during the 2021 bond election. They were, I'm gonna turn off the camera. Sorry, my own reflection is a little bit distracting, so I'm gonna turn that off. I apologize. But these are projects through the bond election that were wanted by our voters. They are currently planned at the existing secondary property tax rate of 87 cents per 100 of assessed value. So it will not cause a change to the tax rate. So that's important to understand. And then on the second item, this is a resolution that is requesting to sell up to 75 million in excise tax revenue obligations. Those bonds are backed by excise taxes, but they are paid for with water and wastewater user fees. These are specifically to fund water and wastewater projects, both for infrastructure and the system itself. The other, I think Thursday night, we'll have a public hearing on our water wastewater fees, and the change in our fees is needed to support debt service along with the operations of the water wastewater enterprises. The other thing I will mention here through both of these processes, we would go out on the market. We would be rated just like you would like a credit report. The city would get rated financially. We're currently AAA bond rated. And what that means is we would actually have less expensive debts. We'd get a lower interest rate. So it's a very economical way of funding our projects in the city of Chandler.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Harris.
And thank you so much, Dawn. I wanted to make sure that we reiterate that to the taxpayers. By chance, what was the percentage of the yes vote on what we're talking about tonight when it was voted on by the taxpayers of the city of Chandler?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Harris, I should
Just a
know that off the
roundabout.
top of my head.
Just a roundabout.
It's the highest percentage we've ever had. I think the mayor might know.
We averaged 71% on all 5 of the bonds.
All right, so that's the majority of the city of Chandler wants it. I just wanted to make sure that they know that what they voted on is coming back to them to be discussed and to be so. So I just wanted to make sure we put that out there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Stewart.
Our wonderful CFO answered my questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to reiterate the fact that I wanted you to explain a little bit more into detail the fact that where do we pay that money back? Because when you borrow, you have to repay. You cannot just keep borrowing and don't repay that money. And how do we repay it? And what is the structure that we use here at the city to help the people of Chandler paying that money back?
Yes, through the mayor, Councilmember Ellis. So the general obligation bonds are paid for with secondary property taxes. So the taxes you pay on your home, resident or a commercial business, those taxes come into the city, and the largest portion of those is the secondary property tax. Now, out of your entire tax bill, we are only 10 cents of the dollar. For every dollar you pay, we only receive about 10 cents of that. So that is the revenue stream that pays the principal and interest on our general obligation bonds. When it comes to excise tax revenue obligations, the water and wastewater user fees, so when you pay your water bill, your wastewater bills, those revenues go into a fund. So water supports water, wastewater supports wastewater, and that debt service is paid for directly from those user fees. The principal and interest is paid for with that, and that helps us fund millions of dollars of needed improvements for our aging infrastructure in the city of Chandler.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And being triple bond rated, that really, when we show our borrowers how we structure ourselves to pay that money back, it gives them a sense of, I will say, more of security, knowing that that money is going to come back to them. And that also increase the fact that we can borrow more or at less interest rate in order to be able to do that, correct?
Yes, through the mayor, Councilmember Ellis, that is correct. I think with strong management policies and consistent application of those over the years, it has really told a story for our credit worthiness. And we've been able to achieve a AAA bond rating and hold that for many, many years. And it has helped us keep our taxes low, frankly, in the city of Chandler.
Yeah, I remember we just not long ago we decreased our tax on our property taxes. We decreased that for our residents here in Chandler. And again, we are able to do those things because of great management and understanding what we're doing with our dollars. So I appreciate all your team do every single day to keep us in light of what we're doing, and we can make good decision for the city of Chandler. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item was called in by Councilmember Harris. He's then said he's fine, but Councilmember Ellis also called in late on this. So a brief presentation on item number 32. And John Knutson. John, you don't have to filter your comments to us today.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council, for your interest in the Public Works and Utilities' ongoing efforts to maintain our aging infrastructure. Item 32 is an item which is part of an ongoing program for the replacement of the media at our filters at our water plant. Currently, we have 12 filters. We go in on a periodic basis and replace the granular activated carbon, which is the actual media in those filters that filter out the particulate matter. This material is excellent for what it does. As the water passes through the granular activated carbon, it removes carbon, total organic carbon from the water. And as it does that, it helps us to provide a higher quality water to the residents of Chandler. So by removing the TOC from the water we receive from the Salt River Project, it actually enhances the water quality and reduces contaminants in the distribution system. So this is an ongoing program. We have over the next 10 years, we have additional projects that are necessary at the water plant, totaling about $250 million. And you'll see those coming in the years to come as we continue to improve that plant.
Well, sorry, Mayor.
John, were you done? Or
I believe there was the next items as well.
yeah, why don't you do?
You want to do both?
You're just doing 32 now, I think, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
then, yeah, I think I have others as well.
Yeah. Hang on, don't go anywhere, but any additional questions with this one?
Well, I was going to say thank you to John for being so conscious about the water that we are letting our residents drink and use every single day. And when we look at $1.7 million just for a filter, and we might be thinking that that's a lot of money, but in the light that you explain it, when you think about water, things in water that can give people cancer, all kinds of things that are being removed by that filter, it's worth it for us to make sure that we do those kinds of things. You mentioned a big number of 250 million that we're going to be seeing in the next year or two or so.
That $250, $300 million is our 10-year program at the water plant. So we have many projects that are coming at the water plant that will improve process and water quality. So those are projects that we have planned coming.
And that's at all the water plants, not just a particular one?
That is at our Pecos plant.
Pecos plant, particularly. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate that, Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation, John, all the work you're doing. So a couple of items that have been popping up in the news and some of my neighbors we've chatted about is the microplastics, the PFAS, I think it's called. We had talked about this briefly, but Chandler's in a pretty good place with that. We don't need to really invest in protecting the water for that, or where are we at with that?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, Chandler is very fortunate in that we have not found any PFAS contamination in our wells above the new limit that's being proposed by the EPA. So we've just finished a round of testing just very recently, and that it's very, very, very good that we've gotten the results that we have. Other valley cities are struggling and with an occasional hit on their wells, and some of the cities have taken wells out of service.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad we chatted about that because it's important, and it's something that's been, I think it's going to get more relevant for many cities. And I know Tucson's struggling with it as well. And I'm just grateful that the investment that councils before us put into our water to make sure that it's safe for drinking and we're good. So thank you, John.
John, the filters that the anthracite ones we've got, these are really more essential because of the fires that have gone up north and the more material that's being carried down into our river system is.
Mayor, you're correct. What has happened to us since about 2005 is we've seen through the delivery system, the SRP delivery system from the reservoirs, an increasing level of a contaminant, but total organic carbon, TOC. And when that increases, it makes treating the water a little more difficult. And then there are byproducts. When you chlorinate water that has high TOC, there are byproducts that are created, very long name, trihalomethane, and those are a regulated substance. And so it has been of key importance to the utility to really remove that TOC at the source, because once it gets into the distribution system, it becomes more difficult to take care of. So
Okay.
that's why we're spending the effort that we are at the plant, so we can remove the TOC at the source. But yes, it has been climbing in the delivery water, in our source water, and that is primarily because of runoff from the watershed.
Okay, thank you. Well, our last items called in, item 39 and 40 by Councilmember Harris. And John, this is you again.
Yes, it is. Again, thank you for allowing us to speak to you about our continuing efforts for maintaining our aging infrastructure. So both items 39 and 40 relate to our street repaving program. The city has 2,100 lane miles of roadway that we maintain. And we try to maintain that at a very high level. We call it Pavement Quality Index, or PQI is the rating system that's used. And we are striving for a 70 out of 100 in the PQI score. And that's an average score amongst all of our streets. Currently, we're running at about a 63. And so we're working really hard to improve that. Last budget, Mayor and Council gave our program, this particular program, a good shot in the arm with several $1 million additional to, again, to go out and try to improve that PQI. And so these two memos represent our annual contracts that we have. The first with our paving company, Tanner, and then the second is with Vincon, who is our concrete company. The projects that we do related to streets are really two-phase. The first is we have to go out and do all of the American disabilities improvements with all the concrete in all the neighborhoods. So we have to modify sidewalks and driveways and ramps at every corner. All these things have to be done, and we're working about 2 years ahead of ourselves. So we're doing all that concrete work about 2 years ahead, and then we come in after that work is done and then do the paving. So it's a 2 or 3 year process in full circle between the asphalt work and the concrete work that we do, and that's what these two contracts represent.
Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, John, so much. I wanted to make sure that we put this out because I wanted our ADA and our seniors to know that we're thinking about them in advance and making sure that our aging infrastructure, there's some great paying attention to, because Chandler is 100 years old. And so there is that time in your city's history where you have to kind of start looking at where you are and where you want to go. And that's why I was glad to bring this item forward, so that way our residents know, listen, get ready, we're coming, and we got some great roads in store for you, and some expanded sidewalks and some dips. And I wanted to also allow the residents, if they have a particular area in their community, that they'll reach back out to the city and say, hey, I'm noticing this in my city. This is the opportunity for each resident to reach back out and say, hey, I'm noticing this in my community. Please pay this first attention to. So again, thank you for the presentation. I just kind of wanted to make sure everyone know that we're coming and get ready. Thank you.
Thank you.
So John, at our Gain neighborhood, I was talking with a delightful lady who was upset at the city for taking her duck crossing sign, and she said, "I don't care about that paving, but I want my sign back." So everyone's got their priorities, but I'll stick with the paving.
Yep, okay. Thank you.
Council, any additional comments?
Just one question.
Council member?
John, there's a handful of change orders that have been coming in. Is that all pretty much, is that inflation related?
Councilmember Stewart, through the mayor, the one before you this evening is actually due to a change condition on site.
Okay.
Ocotillo Road, we found the subgrade to the road was inadequate. It was put in many, many years ago, and basically the foundation for the road was found to be inadequate. And so we have to go through and clean all that up, rebuild it from the bottom, and that was the main part of that change.
Thanks, John.
All right. Council, those are all the questions that have been called in. We'll have a chance to vote on these items and a public hearing and 2 action items on Thursday. We'll see you all then.